You have seen one of these men dozens of times in America's leading magazines. What is your name, please?
My name is Colin Fox.
What is your name, please?
My name is Colin Fox.
What is your name, please?
My name is Colin Fox.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one is the real Colin Fox, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. And now, here is our host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Now may I introduce our panel. What is your name, please?
My name is Polly Bergen.
My name is Ralph Bellamy.
My name is Kitty Carlisle.
My name is Tom Poston.
All right, panel, will you follow along, please, with your number one copies of number one affidavit for this evening? Wait. Okay, here we go. I, Colin Fox, am a photographer's model. I am pictured in advertisements in most of the leading American magazines. Before I became a model, I worked as both a bookmaker and a boxing promoter in England. I have crossed the Atlantic Ocean alone twice in small boats. My first trip in a 24-foot sailboat ended in my being wrecked off the Maryland coast. It was one of the longest small boat crossings of the Atlantic on record, 89 days. Signed, Colin Fox. Very well, panel. You heard these three gentlemen start out tonight by all claiming to be Colin Fox, model and adventurer. We'll start the questioning tonight with Polly Bergen. Polly?
Thank you, Bud. Number one, it says here in your affidavit you were a bookmaker. Is that right?
That's true, yes.
Play 8 to 5, you're not the real Colin Fox. Number two, number one, are the whiskers real?
Yes, they are indeed. They
They
belong
are.
very much to Colin Fox.
They look real. Number two, there is a very famous photographer who had a great deal to do with the motion picture starring Audrey Hepburn and Fred Astaire. Could you tell me his name?
Well, Dick Abaddon has done some of this work. I don't...
Number three, there's a very famous photographer who, since Grace Kelly got married, has taken most of the pictures of the prince and her children. Could you give me his name?
Mr. Conant.
Number one, it says that you've done a lot of crossing around in boats and things. What are knees?
Knees, I would say, are any form of support. They can be of metal or of wood, which support the upper structure with the side of the boat.
Oh, what a dull life you've been living. Ralph Bellamy, please.
Number one, what corresponds to the tote machine at English racetracks?
Well, we do have on the courses a totalizator. It's called the tote.
Number two, what would you say?
That's correct.
Number three?
Definitely correct.
You're in agreement. Number one, what's the biggest sports arena in London?
Wembley, if you're thinking of outdoor sports, or Haringey is the largest of the indoor sports.
Well, number two, what is the biggest arena in London?
White City.
Number three, how does one bookmaker signal to another bookmaker to lay off a bet?
On the course by a tic-tac man.
Number one, how is this done? Demonstrate it, I mean.
Well, it's very hard because...
well, number two,
many of
you-
the tic-tac...
Well, it's rather like baseball signals. They all have different ones. I mean, you can do this, or there are so many different signals, but it's like a third base coach.
Number one, what's the classic race?
Kitty Carlisle.
I don't understand very much on account of those whiskers. Did you say tic-tac making, number three?
Yes.
Tic-tac making. Number one, is bookmaking illegal in England?
No, not at all. There are two forms of bookmaking. You can
Thank
have...
you. Who issues the licenses?
Licenses are issued by the Department of Licenses or the Bureau of Licenses. They cost 10 guineas.
Number two, what was the last ad you posed for?
Well, I was posing actually for sleeping pills.
Oh, would you close your eyes, please? Anybody recognize it? No.
I don't believe the ad has appeared.
Number 2, why is it that you're the only one without an English accent?
Well, I was born in England, and I left at a very early age. My father was in the diplomatic service.
Uh-huh. Number 3.
Tom Poston, please.
Bud, I'm going to address a little remark to all three of the guests. Now, gentlemen, you do understand the purpose of the game, don't you? I mean, see, we ask you questions here, the four of us, and you reveal by your answers which one of you is the real Colin Fox. Isn't that right? Well, you've been deliberately confusing us here. Now, we haven't gotten any of it. I think you should play the game. I tell you, Bud, although his appearance is markedly different from when I met Mr. Fox, I do know him, and I feel that I should disqualify myself. Although why I'm being so fair, I don't know.
All right, Tom. There we are. Time to vote without consultation, even with Tom. Mark your ballots, if you will, please. Not yours, Tom. And select number 1, number 2, or number 3. And, of course, the challengers will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. And Tom's will be cast as one incorrect vote, because he disqualified himself. All right, have you all marked your ballots? Polly, for whom did you vote?
Well, they were all pretty foxy, but... May I take it back?
No.
Oh.
Leave it sit there.
I voted for number 3 because he looks sort of more like what I figure a male model would look like.
Okay.
He's beautiful.
And what about your vote, Ralph?
Number 2. I actually counted myself off number 3. I think number 2 was quicker with his responses and, I don't know, just general hunch.
Uh-huh. And what about your vote?
Well, I counted myself off number 3, too. I voted for number 2.
That's
I
2?
think, yes, that's the 2. Number 3 he looked more like a model, but I think number 2 looked,
Be careful.
Thank you, Ralph. No comment.
Okay. All right, there we have it now, the way 3 of our number voted, and as you know, Mr. Poston disqualified his, so that'll be counted as a wrong vote. All right, now, let's discover, and I'm sure you're all anxious to, too. If you're playing with us at home, we trust you are. Which one of these gentlemen is the real model and adventurer? So I will ask now the real Colin Fox to please stand up. There you are, Kitty. You never should have touted yourself off your original vote. Now let's find out about the others. Number 1, would you tell us who you really are? And I don't know why you didn't get any votes. I feel a little sorry for you. What do you do, sir?
My name is Ken Shaw, and I'm a television film producer with J. Walter Thompson.
Thank you. And number 2, what about you, sir?
My name is Doug Kennedy, and I'm the editor of True, the Man's Magazine.
Well, there you have it. And in checking up the score, we find that there were 1, 2, and Tom's, which would be 3 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $750 from Marlborough, gentlemen. A pleasant evening. I think you'll agree. We certainly enjoyed having you here. On your way out, you'll find a carton of Marlboro cigarettes for each of you. Good night and good luck. Thank you. And now let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mary Jefferies.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mary Jefferies.
What is your name, please?
My name is Mary Jefferies.
Again, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this next affidavit? I, Mary Jefferies, am a qualified airplane pilot and a radar operator. I work for the Federal Aviation Agency at Logan International Airport in Boston as air route traffic controller. I am responsible for the safe routing of private, military, and commercial aircraft flying within my sector. I track the planes in flight by radar and instruct the pilots by radio as to what altitude and course they must maintain. In addition to domestic flights, all transatlantic flights must check with the Boston Air Route Traffic Control when leaving or approaching the New England coast. At times, we have as many as 400 planes under our control simultaneously. Signed, Mary Jefferies. All right, panel, you heard these ladies all claim to be Mary Jefferies, Air Traffic Controller. Let's begin this round with Tom Poston. Tom, please.
Thank you, Bud. Number one, as I understand it, you're responsible for seeing that airplanes don't collide and so forth in the air all over this part of the East Coast. Is that true, in the Boston area, at least?
Well, not exactly. We don't expect collisions, and we really can't discuss them. But the idea is to get the planes in.
I see.
In order.
Thank you. Number two, what would runway 35 be called if you're approaching that runway from the exact opposite direction?
Well, if you can subtract 180 from 350, you've got the answer. I can't think that fast.
Thank you, number two. Number three, what is the approximate landing speed of a link trainer?
I don't know.
Polly?
180 from 350 is 170.
You must be the real Mary Jefferies.
Number two, how many hours of flying do you need, solo flying, before you're a qualified pilot?
Before you get a private license, you need 35 hours of solo flying.
I beg your pardon?
35 hours.
Number three, how many hours do you need?
35.
Number three, what if, there's a pattern that planes fly to land a plane. If you drew that pattern, what shape would it be?
It would be a rectangle.
Number one, it says that you also, all sorts from transatlantic flights and everything. Do all of the pilots, even from foreign countries, do they all speak English?
Oh, yes. Not clearly, necessarily, but they speak English.
Well, what happens when...
Ralph?
Number one, what is your operation called?
I'm an air traffic controller.
No, your operation. What is the general operation called?
The purpose of our center is to see that planes are routed in.
I know.
Logan.
Number two, what is your operation called?
It's called Air Route Traffic Control.
Number three, what is the term for a number of planes circling overhead waiting for a landing?
Holding.
Number one, would you agree?
Yes.
Number two?
It's usually referred to as the stack.
Number one, what is the due
Kitty?
line?
Number one, I worry very much about stacking. Now, if you have about 400 planes...
I wouldn't, Kitty.
When I'm in a plane, I got my own worries, and that's number one on the list. Please, leave my worries to myself. When they're all stacking like that, and you have 400 planes to control, how many men are in the control tower, or women?
We have about 75 people on duty at all times.
And if somebody sneezes, or somebody drops their glasses, or somebody blinks, we're not going to run into each other.
No.
That's all I want to know.
Definitely not.
Number two, what does CAVU mean?
It means the ceiling and visibility are unlimited.
Number three, what does radar stand for?
It's, you mean the definition of radar?
Yes. What do the letters stand for? R-A-D-A-R.
Well, it's range and something. I've forgotten the rest of it.
Do you know number one?
Yes, it's a coined word taken from the first few letters of the phrase radio and detection. No. Why do you
Well, that's
find
all we
out?
have time for. It's time to
bell.
vote without consultation. Again, will you mark your ballots, panel, and select thereby number one, number two, or number three? All set, Polly? For whom did you vote?
Well, I'll put it this way. If it's one or three, I don't want to be in the planes landing. I voted for number two. No offense, but I just...
Feel a little safer.
I'd be a little safer with number two, I think.
Okay. Ralph, your vote.
Number two, on the basis of Tom's question about the number of the strip and the definition of stacking.
Okay.
I
Kitty?
voted for number two. I think it's amazing how much information they all did have. But I agree with Polly. I'd feel a bit safer with number two.
And where do you feel safe, Tom?
Well, if it isn't Polly, I think it's number two for all of those reasons, and besides, she's my mother.
Come on.
No.
The votes are in, the minds are made up. Now let's see which one of these three ladies is Tom Poston's mother. The real air traffic controller. So will the real Mary Jefferies please stand up? Thank you very much. I'm disappointed in your mother, believe me, Tom. Number one, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
My name is Helen Sharp, and I'm a housewife and mother of 3 children.
Thanks. And number two, what about you?
My name is Selma Cronin. I'm also a housewife, and I have 2 children, neither of which is Tom Poston.
Find a complete loss for the panel. I didn't get any right. There were 4 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $1,000 tomorrow, ladies. The kids will have new shoes. May I say it's been a great pleasure having you here with us. On your way out, you'll find a carton of Marlboro cigarettes for each of you. Good night and good luck.
Thank you.
Now, panel, let's meet our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is William H. Olson.
What is your name, please?
My name is William H. Olson.
What is your name, please?
My name is William H. Olson.
Again, follow along with your copies of this affidavit, panel. I, William H. Olson, am an elevator inspector for the Department of Buildings of New York City. From March until September, however, for the past 20 summers, I have been responsible for the inspection of the more than 100 rides at the world-famous Coney Island amusement park. It is my job to ride on and certify as safe such amusement features as the Cyclone Coaster, the Tilt-A-Whirl, the Lupo-Plane, the Scrambler, the Spookorama, the Tornado Coaster, the Whirl-Away, the Satellite Jet, the Virginia Reel, the Whip, the Spitfire, the Parachute Jump, the Thunderbolt Coaster, and the Bubble Bounce. Signed, William H. Olson. This time, panel, as you heard, we have 3 gentlemen all claiming to be William H. Olson, amusement ride inspector at Coney Island. We begin this round with Ralph Bellamy, please. Ralph?
Number one, how is the permissible number of passengers in an elevator determined?
By the weight of the passenger and
By the weight of the
size of
passenger?
the elevator. Yes, in other words, 150 pounds per person, and the size of the elevator determines whether it's 10, 12, 20, or more.
Number two, how often is an elevator inspected?
Once every 3 months.
Number three, what's the fee for an elevator license?
$10 a year.
$10 a year.
That's right.
Number one, for all these rides, what part of a roller coaster is run by cable and what part of it is free, runs freely?
Well, the roller coaster operates on a gravity principle. It first starts out on a chain and then is released and goes on a cable until it reaches the top, and then, of course, it goes down by gravity.
Number two.
Kitty?
I'm still shook up by those last rides. Number 3, it says here that you inspect something called a Virginia Reel. What has happened at the Virginia Reel? Everybody dance there?
No dancing.
Well, what do they do?
They ride in the car.
And so why do they call it the Virginia Reel?
Well, the man who built it, his name was Reel, and he had a daughter by the name of Virginia, so he called it...
I mean, everybody... I love it.
You ask a silly question, you get a silly answer.
Number 1, does an elevator go down faster than it goes up?
No, the same speed.
Same speed exactly.
That's
Number 2, what do you look for when you inspect an elevator?
Loose wheels, chains, whether there's any weak links in the chain, and to see that it's oiled properly.
Thank you.
Tom Poston.
Thank you, Bud. Number 1, do they still have a tunnel of love at Coney Island?
No, no, it was destroyed by fire some 2 years ago.
Oh, it burned, oh.
It did.
see. Number 2, what is the most common braking device on most elevators in the city?
The braking device?
He doesn't mean
slow
the
down.
part. He means to slow down, the braking,
stop.
B-R-A-K-I-N-G. Thing to check its speed, slow it down.
In the braking of an elevator?
Yes.
I passed.
So do
I think he was in the tunnel of
Bergen.
love when it worked.
Number 1, what's a tilt-a-whirl?
A tilt-a-whirl? Well, that's a family ride, we call it. It's
What does it do? What happens?
well, it starts off on the level, the occupants in the car, and then it whirls around, and then it takes a sudden dip on an undulated track, and it mixes up the family considerable, so we call it a family ride.
Your family, not mine. Number 2, there's a ride that's shaped like a big ball, and you go up steps and you get in and you stand all around sort of on things, and then it starts going around, and at the same time it tilts over and you're held on by gravity or something. What is it?
That's not the Virginia Reel. It's a Dipsy Doodle.
It's a what?
Dipsy Doodle.
Number 3, what's the name of that ride?
They call it a gyro ride.
Number 1, there was a father and his child who were stuck on a ride last year on Coney Island. What's the name of the ride?
I'm sorry, it's time to vote once more. So please mark your ballots, and in so doing, select number 1, number 2, or number 3. All set? Polly, have you marked your ballot? Polly?
No, I haven't. I haven't marked my
Well,
ballot
mark
yet.
your ballot, Polly.
Well,
First impressions are always best. Now, come on. For whom did you vote?
Well, I know it's number 3, but I voted for number 1. No, really. Number 3, I sort of had a hunch all along, but number 1 looks like he isn't the one, so I think it's him. Well, he does. I mean... And
All right, let's see if the sun will rise at Campobello, Ralph.
I had number 3. I almost touted myself off to number 1 because he had a lot of information and maybe it. But I kind of believe the Virginia Reel story.
Kitty?
I voted for number 3. I think they were all taking us for a ride. But I think that number 1 is really a man from Coney Island, and number 3 knows about elevators.
Okay. Tom, come play with me.
I voted for number 3, Bud, because I liked his answers, and he looks like he's been outdoors the last couple of weeks, and that might help. And there's no relation whatsoever.
All right, there we have it now. If you're playing at home as we trust you do each week, check your scores. We check that of the panel right now and discovering which one of these gentlemen is the real checker or inspector of the amusement rides at Coney Island. So will the real William H. Olson please stand up? Well, the panel did better that time. Thank you very much, sir. Number 1, would you tell us who you really are and what you do, please?
My name is Earl Shipley, and I'm a clown with Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus at the Garden.
I'm amazed that nobody recognized him. Number 2, would you tell us who you are, sir, and what you do?
My name is Eddie Borden. I'm the editor of Boxing Illustrated, a monthly boxing publication.
Thank you very much. All right, checking the score, the panel did better this time. It was only 1 incorrect vote for $250 from Marlboro. Gentlemen, thanks so much. And on your way out, you'll find that there is a carton of Marlboro cigarettes for each of you. Good night and good luck. Okay. It's all the time we have, so good night, panel.
Good night.
Bud. This is Bud Collier saying good night from Marlboro and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To tell the truth, Mark Goodson, Bill Hutton. In association with the CBS Television Network. Miss Bergen Gown by Wilmer. Carlisle Gown by Bob Buñuel.